What is good? Okay, so live case study time. I've launched a campaign, new offer, and I forgot to record it. So I'm going to walk through it. So it's gone live this morning, and I'm just going to go, and so I've got a time frame set to yesterday, so we don't see any of today's results or stats so far, as if we were just building it and publishing it. Okay, so let's walk through it. It's an offer for nerve pain, and as the label suggests, it's a lifetime CBO campaign, meaning the budget is set to lifetime and at a campaign level, otherwise known as Advantage Campaign Budget Plus. That is turned on. Lifetime is selected. $30,000 is the budget, which, if was evenly spent across the time, it's a 30-day campaign, would spend $1,000 per day. Okay, now the reason why I love Lifetime and the reason why I love CBO is I find them so much easier to scale. And I'll give you some examples. Okay, so for me, in my experience, let's start from the top, CBO versus ABO. Well, I see a lot of people who teach and have content talking about a testing campaign, and then they move it to a scaling campaign, and that's all well and good, and it makes sense. But on the other side, it makes no sense, because why would you generate all that data and results in your testing campaign and not scale what's working there? Why take it into another campaign where it might not work, right? So for me, when someone puts in $1,000, $2,000 into a testing campaign, they're testing different ads, maybe they generate 20 sales, then they go and start a brand new campaign to scale. And it's like, well, what are you going to do with all that data in that campaign? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Remember, the data is held at the ad set level, also at the campaign level, and obviously the account level. But you're just eradicating that ad set and campaign data. Like, what are you doing that for? So it doesn't make any sense to me. So what I like to do is I like to test my campaign and scale the same campaign. Now, for me, that is easier to do in a CBO campaign. From experience, again, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm not saying it's the best way or the wrong way. Like, that is what's worked for me. That is all I can do is tell you what's worked for me. So a CBO campaign with the campaign budget has way more stability, for one, and also is just easier to remain consistent and remain stable when increasing the budget. This could be done on daily as well, by the way. I've seen it work well and stable and consistent on daily budgets as well. But I can, if my CBO campaign is crushing, then I'm quite confident that I can double the budget, maybe even triple the budget through the day that it's working, and have an increased likelihood that the campaign remains stable and consistent. As opposed to ABO, right? Where ABO, I see there's more chance that it just goes to shit. Another thing with CBO versus ABO, let's say, as you can see, right, along this column here, right, there's 4 ad sets, and each ad set has 3 ads. Now, if I have an ad set that is underperforming, maybe I have 2 ad sets that are underperforming, and I'm in a CBO, and I'm spending $1,000 per day, then I can turn those 2 ad sets off. And now the budget flows through to the active 2 ad sets, meaning I still spend my $1,000 a day budget, but now I maximize my results because it's only flowing through to the ad sets that are performing on that day. As opposed to ABO, ad set budget, where maybe we take the same 4 ad sets and the same $1,000 day budget, but this time we're spending $250 per day per ad set. 4 ad sets equals $1,000. Our 2 underperforming ad sets, maybe they spend $70 each. They're shit. CPMs are high. Cost per click's high. You know, we haven't had a checkout or whatever secondary metrics we're looking at. So we turn those ad sets off. Well, now we're not going to spend the rest of that budget. And now we're dependent on the other 2 ad sets to spend the full $250 a day. So now we've only going to have $500 of good spend, right? As opposed to our full $1,000. So that's another reason, right? Why CBO just, for me, is a no-brainer. So let's touch on lifetime. So lifetime budget, I love lifetime for a couple of reasons. One, we can scale without moving the budget. We can increase volume without editing, changing, doubling, tripling the budget. So this is a 30-day lifetime. So let's say 2 or 3 days in, we are crushing, absolutely crushing, but we try and double the budget. It doesn't work out the way we wanted it to. So we take the budget back to 30K and results start to continue on day 4 and 5. Okay, so we tried to double, it didn't work. Okay, stuff works in different campaigns and different ad accounts. We have to try and find what's going to be applicable to this campaign and this ad account. So, all right, so doubling didn't work. Now what we can do, say we continue to see results, now we've taken it back down to 30K. Well, we can try something else now because it's lifetime. We can take that 30-day schedule and we can bring it forward. So now let's say instead of this running for 30 days, we want it to run for 10 days. So let's say we're day 5, we've spent 5K, because if it was going to spend evenly, it'd spend $1,000 a day. So now we've spent $5,000, we're on day 5, and we still have $25,000 remaining, and we want to try and get this budget, the spend, to $5,000 a day. So let's take that 30-day and move it to 10-day. There's 5 days remaining. We've got 25K remaining. If it was to spend evenly, it now spends 5K a day. That's just one other way that we could amplify and increase volume. And I've seen this work really fucking well. I've also seen it not work. So again, pinch of salt, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that's Facebook as a whole right now. You know, some things work, some things don't. One thing works in one account, it doesn't in another. One thing works in one campaign, it doesn't in another, right? So, you know, it's about trying to find what is going to work in this campaign on this day. And lifetime CBO gives us a little bit more stability, but it also gives us 2 different options to be able to ramp up budget 2 different ways, right? So let me tell you about the plan at this level. So we're starting with 30K. So again, you know, my go-to would be to, you know, increase budget on days it's performing. Once we start seeing ideally 25, 30 plus conversions, and we have a good idea what our CPA is, maybe not our target CPA, but we know what our average cost per purchase is in this campaign, then we can switch bidding strategy. And usually what I'll do is I'll just switch it straight in this campaign. This is, again, people say, oh, don't touch the campaign, you reset the learning phase, don't do this, don't do that. I don't really care, right? If it's working, then great. If it doesn't work, I'll switch it back. Like, you know, whatever, right? Whatever suits people, but I get more success editing campaigns than I do duplicating and starting fresh. I want to keep that data, right? Which, again, going back to, oh, this is our testing campaign, this is our scaling campaign, great, but I'm fucking testing and scaling in the same campaign. So, like, you know, whatever you want to do, but that's where I'm seeing the best success. So the goal here would be generate enough purchases to get our average purchase CPA, then switch to bid cap. We could also switch to cost per result, and I'll play with the 2, but usually I'll try bid cap first. and see where we're going. And then we can start looking at, if we see on day 2 and 3, maybe we don't have enough conversions to ramp up to bid cap. What I might do, if we get off to a really good start, I'll increase the budget and see if that's going to hold in this campaign. So again, like all these changes that I'm talking about, all these things that I'm talking about, these ways of scaling, I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to record a Loom video like this and walk you through every time I come into this campaign to make a change, or come into this campaign to optimize, to scale, to change something, to look at something. I'm going to record a Loom. That's why these live case studies are going to be so fucking valuable, because it's going to be me walking you through the media buying strategy, in real time. Obviously, I'm not going to do it live on a group call, but I'm going to do the video and I'm going to upload it to the module in the classroom, and I'm going to, announce that in the community. So this is going to be pretty fucking fire, I hope. Watch this crash and burn. Anyway, right, so that's the plan, okay? 10 minutes in, and I've just talked about plan. CBO, 30K, lifetime. Again, budget dependent, right? If your budget is $100 a day, you could just run this at $3,000 lifetime. And also, you don't even have to fucking listen to me. If you want to run it a completely different way, feel free to do that. I'm not telling you this is the way to do it. I hate people that, fucking say this is the one and only way to do things. Bullshit. Bullshit. This is, an ever-evolving platform. If you were to take the 100 top advertisers on Facebook, I can freaking guarantee you they are doing things different from each other. Oh, shit, I'm twatting the microphone here. They're doing things different, right? They're not all going to be doing this exact same framework or this exact same fucking strategy. So, yeah, there isn't one strategy that rules them all, one setup. I hate calling it a strategy anyway. There's not one setup or framework that rules them all. It's whatever you find works for you, okay? And I really do advise that you take bits of different things from different people and just apply them and see what works. And then maybe you think, actually, instead of it doing this way, what if I was to do it that way? Boom, there you go. Now, let me tell you another thing why I like Lifetime that I forgot to mention. I love day parting. That is one of my first major optimizations. After we have 100 plus conversions, I love looking at the day and hour that the conversions are taking part. The more data you have here, the better. But if you see a 6 or 7 hour block window, which is just all green and like from 6 a.m. till midday, ad account time zone, it's fucking 100% ROI and crushing. And we've got a bit of data there to really, make this a statement. It's not just going off one conversion or 2 conversions. We're looking at, 8+ conversions in each hour. And we have 6 hours there that are showing a really effective time. Then I will try and tie that into my day parting. Okay. So I will start day parting and only running my ads in those times to then maximize our spend and see if that sticks. And if it doesn't, we switch back. If it does, happy days. All right. 13 minutes in, we haven't even got to the ad set level. So let's get moving. Okay. So that's the campaign level. Now let's switch over to the ad set level. So 4 different ad sets, 4 different concepts. We have batch 1, concept 3, okay? We have thumbnail images, static images. We have batch 1, concept 1, and we have batch 3, concept 1, okay? You can see that we're running to broad, 45 plus, and you can see the way we're set up. Conversion location is on the website, performance goal, maximize number of conversions, the pixel, optimizing for the purchase event. We went live this morning at 11:39, which is super late. Shouldn't really do that. But anyway, we did it. Naughty, naughty. What I would recommend here is you schedule this for the following morning, just after midnight. And I've gone completely against what I would recommend. And I don't actually know why I did that, because I feel like I published it a lot earlier than that. But anyway, potentially I didn't even pay attention. Now, look, we've also got ad set spending limits. Because we're running CBO and this initially is our testing phase, I like to have a little bit of control. I want to tell Facebook, I want to have a bit of spend on each ad set. I don't want you just to focus everything on one ad set. I want to give a bit of a go for each ad set. Now, because this is lifetime and it's spread over 30 days, we have to set the minimum per ad set over lifetime, okay? And you can see Facebook even tell you we can't guarantee this amount will be spent, but I want to make it clear that I do want them to spend on each ad set. So $3,000 per ad set in this campaign would equal $12,000. I think 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, 12,000, meaning we'd have $18,000 left over to be allocated to whichever ad sets we see fit or Facebook see fit. Now we can play around with that by adding increasing minimums, decreasing maximums or adding maximums. We don't have a maximum set on specific ad sets. So we could do this, if this was running away and we didn't really want to turn it off, we could add a maximum spend limit, and we could sort of add it to whereabouts it is right now with the ad spend, and then that would not spend anymore. We could do that. Or you could just turn it off if it was underperforming. Okay, and then we've got our geos, our age, targeting all, etc., and then it's showing the ads. Okay, so the schedule that we're running this on is 7-day click, 1-day view. You could try 1-day click, nothing wrong with that. I haven't seen too much difference in results or performance between 7-day click and 1-day click. So I just leave it at the default. We do often get the odd conversion that happens a couple of days later. Like they opened up the tab and obviously, or they opened up the VSL and didn't get a chance to watch it and then forgot about it. And then a few days later, they notice that they have it open in the tabs and then they continue to watch and buy. We do see that. Whereas that wouldn't be attributed if it was operating under the 1-day click. But it doesn't always happen, right? And few and far between. But anyway, what else? So in terms of structure, the one campaign, I would say 3 to 5 ad sets, 5 ad sets max, ideally 3, and 3 or 4. I've got 4 obviously because I wanted to test a few more videos. So I have 3 video ad sets and 1 image ad set. Okay, so as you can see here, we have 3 images or 3 ads per ad set. So each one of these ads in the ad set is relevant to the concept that we're running in this ad set, but potentially either a different hook or a different close or whatever we're testing, but they're all the same concept. Concept could be a creative concept such as UGC, podcast style, B-roll, or a concept could be in relation to the angle, right? So like potentially talking about how the neurologist was fucking wrong or whatever, right? It could be along those lines. Then obviously we've got images, which would be a creative concept. And then concept 1, concept 3 for batch 1, and then batch 3, concept 1. Okay, so yeah, we've got these. We're going to see how they run. Again, with the ads, I would say 3 to 5 ads as well per ad set. I think 3 is a good number. So like with these, we've got 12 ads in total, which is probably a good number to go with initially. Any more than that with the CBO and it's sort of spreading things a little bit too thin. I think 9's a good number as well. So again, with the 3 ad sets, 3 ads per ad set, that would give you a nice number with 9. 12 is okay and good. 15 probably the max you'd want to be before the budget's too thin. Okay, so I think that wraps it up in terms of what we're doing here in the initial. I'm going to check back in after the first full day and we'll have a look at some of the results and see if there's anything that we spot. The goal here, ideally, is obviously to test the ads, and we start by testing the creative, or I start by testing the creative. I'm only running 1 headline and 1 primary text, and it's the same throughout each ad set. So although we're testing a different concept in the creative, per ad set. We're running the exact same headline and primary text throughout each of the 4 ad sets. So I don't want to, have any other influence over the conversion and the performance other than one thing, which is the creative. Okay. So we'll see how this goes, and hopefully we'll have some results to come back to. Ideally, to really, to confirm a winning ad, we want to see a minimum of 5 sales within our target CPA. The target CPA for this offer is around $85. I am willing to allow a little bit more. So like say $90. And I'm also obviously wanting to really get underneath $85 ideally. But I know if it was like $88, I know we might be able to have when we test a thumbnail or test a new headline or a hook on the primary text, we might be able to bring that cost down. It's still profitable. It's just not the profit level that we're looking for. But even, I'll usually leave a buffer. Anyway, let's end the video here and we'll check back in within the first days of results.